You have now reached your destination.
Napilay po ako mga madam, so siya muna ang magbo-vlog. So here we are at the Lavender Farm and still in Olympic Village area. So as you can see here, these are the lavender being grown in this area. So they have the royal velvet. Here you go, guys.
I'm one of the bees. B&B is Bruce and Bonnie. So welcome to our farm. We always start off with, so what's going on around Sequim? Why are there so many lavender farms right here in a small area? More here than any place in North America. It's all about the weather. Lavender is a Mediterranean plant. It does not like to be wet. There's a little microclimate right here. Our farm's right in the middle of it. It's called the Blue Hole. The rain and the snow, for the most part, stops right over there in the mountains. For comparison, the Seattle area gets 50 or 60 inches of rain a year. We get 15 on this farm. And the punchline is we never water it. Even with only 15 inches of rain, we never water it. It does not like to be wet. Surefire way to kill it. So that's why it's here. We're in the right place. If you walk around the fields, you'll see black plastic under all of our plants. That's just because we hate to pull weeds. That's all that's to it. We never fertilize the lavender. This used to be a dairy farm. The soil is really good. I'll let you figure that out. We never spray the lavender. It's a natural repellent. There's no bugs out there. The deer won't eat it. Slugs won't eat it. Rabbits won't eat it. Only insects we ever find are honeybees. And we attract them with our beehives. We got beehives back on that part of the farm. They're in here really thick right now. They're not going to bother you if you don't bother them. We're working with them all day. They're not helping the lavender at all. There's nothing to pollinate on lavender. They're in there strictly to eat. They go back, make some really good honey. We steal it, sell it in our store. But as I told you, we're sold out right now. But we really like having the bees because we got a bunch of fruit trees over here. We wouldn't have any of the fruit trees without the bees. So when you look at the big picture, we don't water, we don't weed, we don't spray, we don't fertilize. What the heck do we do all day, right? The hard part of the year is right now, harvest time. It's cut by hand, one handful at a time with a knife. So harvest takes us about 2 months. We're right in the middle of it. I'm guessing we're halfway through. So this is a tough time of year for us. We cut when we close at the end of the day. So we'll start about 5:30 this evening. We'll cut till dark, and that's 7 days a week. A little bit of information about the varieties of the lavender. It can get really confusing. There's hundreds of types. We've got 15 varieties on our farm, but they're either English varieties or they're French varieties. These two small fields right here are English variety. Really nice sweet taste to them. That's what you want to cook with. If you ever want to cook with lavender, make sure it's English. It might say Culinary. It's the same. The rest of the lavender that you see out there that's not been cut yet is a French variety. Smells really good. We use it to make a lot of products. The downside is you cannot cook with it. It tastes like Vicks Vapor Rub. You'll spit it out in a hurry. It's a perennial crop, so we're going to get multiple years out of it. We get one cutting per year, but we do come back in the fall and we trim them all with a hedge trimmer. That's why they all look alike. When we're done cutting by hand, it's all jagged. All the stems are uneven, and the next spring, all the stems would be different lengths. That would not work well for our business. So we give them all a haircut in November with a hedge trimmer, and we're going to do that for about 25 years on each plant before we have to tear it out. Now these two close fields, these are 5-year-old plants. You can see a field just over the top of this one, a bunch of little guys out there. Those are 1-year-old plants. And the other extreme, our senior citizen field, is this one out here. Those are 25-year-old plants.
Oh.
They're perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with them, but we'll be tearing them out this winter. The issue is the length of stems. Around here, when a lavender plant's about 15 years old, the stems are like this. After that, they get shorter each year. Those are getting so short, we don't have room to get our hands in there and cut without losing fingers. So they'll be coming out this winter. So I assume you guys in Vegas are probably not growing any lavender.
No.
Too hot. You'd have to water there. The trick would be to water it enough to keep the plants alive, but not so much that the fruit rot. That's a tough balance to find. I don't know of any lavender farms in Nevada. Doesn't mean there aren't any, but I don't know of any. A lot of people trying to go lavender all over the U.S. and they get really frustrated because they get too much rain. So before I forget, I would like to say this is the knife we use when we harvest. It's really sharp. If you want to do a U-cut on our farm where you can cut your own lavender, we give you scissors for insurance reasons. But this is the way we do it. It's really fast, a lot faster than scissors. And when we're harvesting, we're trying to move. So what's going on here in the barn is mainly related to our wholesale business. We have this small retail store where we sell lavender products we make here on the farm. But most of our actual lavender is going to leave here on FedEx trucks, shipped all over the US and Canada in bulk at wholesale prices. Before we can ship, we got to dry it. If we try to ship it green, it's going to mold in the boxes. The way we dry our lavender is we hang it on these chains for about 3 weeks. So out in the field, every bundle we cut gets a rubber band. Comes in here, every rubber band gets a paper clip. That's how it's hanging on the chains. Takes about 3 weeks. It'll be good and dry, then we're gonna do one of two things with it. A lot of it, especially this variety, this is one of the French lavenders, excuse me. The lavender dust. This is a French variety. Really long, straight stems. It's also known for how long these buds will stay on here. Many, many years. The color will fade, the smell will fade, but you have a nice dry bouquet for years and years. So a lot of it we're gonna sell just like this. It ends up in stores like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Crate and Barrel, all over the country. The other thing we'll do with it is we'll strip the buds off and sell the buds all by themselves. That's what Max is doing over here right now. So that's a French variety. This is a wagon load of English lavender. Deeper, darker purple, shorter stems, typical of the English varieties. It also can be white. But these buds do not want to come off, but it's too short for a nice bouquet, so we cheat. There's 2 chimney brushes in there spinning. Max sticks this in there, holds it in there for just a few seconds. Hold up your handful there, Max, when you're done so they can see what it looks like. So we almost got all of them off. You'll stick that in there one more time, you'll get the ones on the very end. All the buds end up in that blue tub. And all those bare stems are going to go back out on the field for compost. And if you excuse me, I'll come right over here and show you what that tub looks like. So here's a tub full of French lavender buds. You're welcome to stick your hands in there if you'd like. You let me know if you cannot smell that. We'll get you a COVID test.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it smells good.
So you'll notice there's a bunch of stems in here. There's also a bunch of little brown dried flower petals. Lots of them. We sell this by the pound. Some of our customers will buy hundreds of pounds at a time. They'll reject this. They want all of those stems cleaned out. They want all those little brown petals cleaned out before we ship it to them. So if we're gonna clean it, the way we do that is we take, I call this our dirty bud. So we tape our tubs of dirty bud this way. bud goes up the stairs. This is our cleaning machine. I'll turn it on here in a second and you'll see how it works. It's commercially made to clean oats, wheat, barley. It's just been modified to work for lavender. We clean bud for a lot of other lavender farms because it's so fast. The way it works is we dump that tub of dirty bud in the top box. This whole machine's going to shake. The bud's just going to gravity fall down through 5 different screens, goes by 2 big fans. All that kicks out what we don't want into these 4 barrels. You'll see how it works here when it's on. So it starts at the top, works its way down. So all those stems we don't want, they're the first thing out down here at this end. All those little brown petals I was talking about, here's a whole bucket full of them. The clean stuff comes out around the corner, but I've got it here where you can check it out. This is the same thing you saw down there, but this is clean. The stems are gone, the little brown flower petals are gone. So again, that's French lavender. That's the one you do not want to cook with.
It smells so good.
I'm going to pop the lid off of this one. But different rules here. Please, no hands in here. Somebody's going to cook with it. This is the English variety, but I want you to see the difference.
Start.
It smells very different too. If you stick your nose in there, you're going to get a much different smell than this one.
There's no smell in this.
Yeah, to me, this is a softer, sweeter smell. This is a stronger, typical lavender smell.
Let me go closer.
This is an English variety called Royal Velvet.
And this is the French.
French one called Grosso.
So would you never cook with the Grosso?
Correct. Bad taste. Tastes like Vicks Vapor Rub. So the way I keep all that cooking stuff straight, F for French for fragrant, E for English for edible. Or the simple way to say it, we all know the French can't cook, the English can cook. He says with a straight face. That's the way it works for lavender.
So can all the English varieties be eaten?
They're
but
all good.
none of the French?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can. It won't hurt you. You just spit it out. It tastes terrible. So that's what we do if we hang it to dry. We either sell the dried buds or we sell the dry bouquets. There's one other thing we do with our lavender here on the farm. That's right over here. So all 3 of those totes that we just opened are last year's crop. They've been sitting in these tubs for over a year. The reason they still smell so good is the oil that's in the bud.
Oh yeah.
The oil does not evaporate. They'll smell that way 5 years from now. So if we can get the oil out, we can have a lot of fun with it. The way we do that is we distill it with one of our 2 stills. We've got a big one, we've got a small one. They work the same way. I'm going to explain it here on this one because I can reach it easier. So we'll go out, we'll cut fresh flowers. No rubber bands, no chains. It comes straight from the field. Short little stems. There's no oil in the stem, it's all in the flowers. So picture a tub full of fresh lavender flowers here. Pack as much in here as we can. We'll even pack it in the cap. Put about this much water. Goes on the burner. It's very similar to steaming vegetables. The steam goes up through there, it breaks the bud, grabs the oil. Steam rises, stays in this tube. Here's the other end of the tube right here. In between my hands, this tube is spiraling down through the tub, which will be full of cold water. So cold water on the outside of this hot tube condenses the steam inside to liquid. It's going to be a liquid that drips out. 2 parts to the liquid, oil and water. They don't mix. It actually drips into this funnel over here under the big still. So on this big one, the plants were back there, burner, the pipe comes over with the steam, cold water drips out. You can see exactly what's happened. This is the water. That's the oil. We don't do anything. We just watch it separate itself. The water on the bottom is called hydrosol, or lavender water. The most common use for this is ladies use it as facial toner. It's an astringent, antibacterial, good for your skin. Very similar to witch hazel. Witch hazel is made the same way. So what we're really after though is that little layer of oil right there. We bottle our oil in these little blue bottles. You'll see them in the shop if you go in there. Lots of uses for essential oil. Usually help you relax or sleep. So room diffusers, aromatherapy, massage therapy. People tell us they get rid of the migraine headaches with a drop on each temple. School teachers like to use it in the classroom for students with ADHD. Cancer patients tell us it's the only thing that keeps them going. The list goes on and on and on. Sunburns, insect bites. Let me give you an idea of proportions. In this little still, we can fit about 10 of our big plants. Not 10 handfuls, 10 big plants. Remember, just the flowers with short stems. So out of 10 plants, we're going to average 1 or 2 gallons of hydrosol. We average 5 ounces of oil from 10 plants. Half an ounce per plant. That's why it's not cheap. We don't get much. The big still is 5 times as much. We put 50 plants in there yesterday. The steam came over. This particular variety was even less than a half an ounce. We ended up with about 20 ounces out of 50 plants. So it's really strong, really concentrated. We just don't get it. Any questions?
No, sir.
No questions. No more than you ever wanted to know about lavender.